Hi everyone, this is Susie with Creative Cafe, and I am starting part 1 of my Once Upon an Eerie Tale tutorial. This mini album is quite thick. It really only has 2 inserts, what I call inserts, because I make, this is one insert, this was the other. So it really just has 2 inserts in it, but anyway, it came out really thick. But anyway, I'll probably have to do this in 3 parts, maybe even 4. It just depends on how far I can get each time. So anyway, this is what we're going to do the tutorial on. I'm going to kind of show you what I did use. I'm going to be doing it out of the Raining Cats and Dogs. So I'm using my 8x8 Raining Cats and Dogs. I'm going to use my 12x12. And Graphic 45 is now putting templates in the back of their paper pads. So if you cannot find the 7 Gypsies file folders or don't want to run out and buy them, there's a great template for you to use in the back of your 12x12 pad. And all you're really going to be needing is this one side. You won't need this side anyway. So anyway, this is a great template right here for you if you can't find it. If you'll just go to maybe the dollar store and buy some manila folders. When I'm there, I usually pick up something. They're pretty good. This is just the Dollar Tree manila folders, just $1. You get 10, so, you know, I just use them when I have to make something if I'm out of it. So anyway, that will work for that. And then I am going to be using just this chipboard. This is the chipboard tag 2 here. So anyway, this is the one I'm going to be using. I am going to be using the die cuts here, your tags and pockets, and I'm going to be using the flowers in this one, the die cut flowers. So, and then I'm going to be using the sticker sheet. So anyway, that is what I am going to be using there to put these albums together. Kind of get this out of the way. Okay, then on the folders, and this is a micro folder, and they are actually paper reflections. Now, my friend Tina sent these to me about a couple of years ago, and I have no idea where she got them, and I did not look them up online, so I'm going to kind of give you the measurements. These are 2.5 by 1.5 in size. So, you know, they're really tiny. Your 2.5 is going this way, your 1.5 is going this way. And a lot of times you can almost cut these out if you'll just kind of, you know, start drawing. I've made my own before, and they're not real difficult to make. So anyway, that is the micro folder, and you're going to be needing one of those. Then these are 7 Gypsies here. They're just the smaller file folders, which is a 3 by 3.5 in size, and you're just going to need one of those, I believe, and you may need 2. I may have miscounted. You may need 2 of those, and anyway, they're like I said, 3 by 3.5 in size. So if you have to make them, they're pretty easy to make too. So, and like I said, I may have been wrong. You may need 2 of those. I'm thinking there's 2 in that album, and you are going to need 2 of the bigger ones. These are 5 by 6 1/8, which is pretty close to what's in the 7 Gypsy or the Graphic 45. And if they're a little bit smaller, that's okay. It's not going to matter. And you're going to need 2 of those, and this is the only part that you need. We're going to cut this flap off anyway, so this is really the only piece you need. Okay. And then I did use the Ranger tags, or I believe they're the Ranger tags. Yeah. Tim Holtz Ranger tags. Now, if you don't have any of these, or don't want to buy any, these are so easy. These are super easy to make. Here is just a cream cardstock, and if you'll just cut it down to 8.5 by 4.5, then all you really have to do is just take your scissors and cut your, you know, and if you want to just, this is an easy way to kind of get them the same, you know, just fold it over and there you go. Then you have a tag, you know, and just punch a hole. They're that simple. So anyway, I'll give you the measurements to those again. They're 8.5 by 4.5. Really easy to make, and then just punch your hole. That's, like I said, that's just a cream cardstock. You can use, you know, even cut them out of the manila folders if you want to. They're just so easy to make. So anyway, you're going to just need, you will need, I think 2 of those is what I used. 2 of those. Okay, so now I'm going to kind of get into the inserts now. So for one inserts, I use 6 sheets of the 8.5 by 11 cardstock. I know that 6 sheets will do your flaps and stuff, but when it comes to your photo mats and all, you will probably have to, you know, use more sheets. It may take like 3, 4, maybe 4 more sheets. I like to buy these from Michaels. They're the cardstock 65-pound paper. You get 50 sheets. This weekend they actually had these run 5 for $10, so it ended up being $2 for 50 sheets. I mean, I always have these on hand. I always buy them when they're on sale. That way I don't have to worry about, because if you make mistakes, you know, you don't have to worry about if you go out and buy 10 sheets of cardstock and that's all you have and you make a mistake, you know, you're just, it's just easier to buy it by the pack. So this is Michael's, and then this is from Paper Studio, Hobby Lobby. They now have come out with the heavier cardstock. So I bought these. They had these on sale this weekend for half off. So they're regular $8.99 for the heavy cardstock, and I gave what, $4.50 for this. So, and there's 50 in here also. So anyway, either one of these is going to work fine. You know, or actually, as long as it's not a real thin cardstock, it will work. So you don't want anything that's real thin like copy paper, because then you'll be in trouble. So anyway, I'm going to kind of go through here and show you what you'll need to cut. So let me move some of this out of the way. You know, I'm going to make sure that I've got my cutter in frame. So what you'll want is, for the one wide page that you're going to have to put together, you're going to have to cut 2 of these. And you're going to have to cut them at 7 3/4 by 7.5. And then you're going to score on this 7.5 inch side. You're going to score it at 7, so it kind of gives you a half inch fold or bend. You know, so you're going to have to put 2 pieces together to make one page. So anyway, I'll leave the measurements there. I know sometimes when I'm talking I might say the wrong thing, but always go by what's on the post-it note. So anyway, you're going to cut your 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. You're going to cut it at 7 3/4 by 7.5. Okay, so I'm going to do that. We're going 7 3/4. Okay. I always keep my scraps. I never throw them away. By 7.5. Because a lot of times, well, if they're tiny like this, I mean, you can, but if they're big, just kind of hang on to them. Don't let them go, because you can always make, you know, your flip pages, some of the smaller flip pages, you can back your tags on it. So, okay, so on the 7.5 inch side, which is the side I just cut, 7.5, what I do is I use the 1/2 inch on this side. But I mean, it's just as easy if you slid it over here and did 7. I mean, find your 7 over on this side. Pull it over to 7, and then just take and score it. So what it does is it gives you this fold right here. Okay? And you need that. So now I've already got 2 cut, so I'm just going to kind of use what I've already got cut. I do put sticky strip on one side. Okay, and then I have my little note here. I use my 8 by 8 pad on these wider pages. Okay, and I use my 12 by 12 on the thinner ones, but I kind of noted that so that I would remember. So once you get your 2 pieces cut, all you're going to do is and I'm not going to take my sticky strip off, but here's your sticky strip. You're going to take it, you're going to lay it right into here, and these two pages stick together. That's exactly what they do. They stick together just like this, okay? And I did mark center here, and I will put this together when we get ready to do this part of the page. Right now I'm just cutting the pieces. So anyway, that's why we have to have two, because this is for well, it's really 2 pages here of your insert, okay? Okay, then I'm going to take another sheet. Okay, and this one is, of course, the 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock. And it's already 8.5 anyway, so we're not going to have to worry about cutting this side. But we are going to have to cut our 11-inch side to 10 3/4, okay? And then we're scoring it at 5 1/4, and then we're scoring again at 5 1/2. Okay, so we're 8 3/4 going up and down, and we're 8.5 going up and down, 10 3/4 going side to side. And then we're scoring at 5 1/4 and 5 1/2. Okay, so we're already 8.5 here, and now I'm going 10 3/4. So we're cutting off this little bitty 1/4 inch piece. Okay, then I'm going to score at 5 1/4. Okay, so I'm measuring 5 1/4 over here. Okay, there's my 5 1/4. And then I'm going to slide over to 5 1/2. And I'm just scoring again. Okay, and what it does is it gives me a 1/4 inch gusset right there. So I just kind of fold it and fold it. Okay? Now, there is our main insert right there. Okay? And like I said, I'll put that together here in just a little bit. This, of course, is what I use my 12 by 12s on because they're a little taller and thinner. So this is what I'll be using my 12 by 12 inch pad for. Okay? Okay, now for all the foot pages and that kind of stuff we're going to go through. I've got a lot of them. And I'm going to get rid of my trimmer because I don't feel like I need that. Okay, I have cut a booklet. And you're just going to need one of these probably, best I can remember. I tried to remember to write it on here. But one booklet is 3 3/4 going up and down by 7 1/2 going across. And then you're going to score 3 3/4 over, which just makes it half, you know. You wouldn't even have to score it if you just kind of bring it half and just kind of press it down. And that will be your booklet. Okay, then we do have a photo book, and you just need one of these that are going to be cut 9 by 6 1/2, and on the 9-inch side you are going to score at 4 1/2, or just flip it down and press it, you know, half. It's just half. Okay, so you've got 9 by 6 1/2, and then if you'll just fold it in half, or you can score it at 4 1/2, and that will make it half. Okay, and you just need one of those. Then you're going to need a belly band that is going to be 2 inches going up and down and 7 7/8 long. Okay, and 7 7/8 is just almost 8 inches. It's just the little bit of a longer line. You've got your tiny line, and then you've got your little bit of a longer line this side of the 8, and that's 7 7/8, okay? And then all you're going to do is score it a 1/2 inch on each side. So I've scored it a 1/2 inch, and I scored it a 1/2 inch, okay? Then you're going to need a pocket, which I did not cut the indent out. This is my pocket, and it is cut 3 inches going up and down, and it's 8 inches going across. And then you're going to score it a 1/2 inch on each side, just like you did your belly band. Okay? Excuse me. Okay, then I have another belly band that we are cutting 3 3/4 wide, okay, and then up and down is 7 inches. And then what you're going to do once you have cut this 7 inches, you know, you put it in and you've cut it 7 inches, you're going to score it a 1/2 inch and a 1/2 inch, okay? So it looks like this. And that's 3 3/4 by 7. And then on this 7-inch side, you're scoring it a 1/2 inch at the top and the bottom, okay, to make your belly band. Okay, then we have another band that is just 2 by 6 1/8. 2 being up and down this way, 6 1/8 going across, and it does not get scored. It is just that size, and you just need one of those. Okay, you're going to need 2 pockets that are cut 4 3/4 by 4 3/4. And once they're cut 4 3/4 by 4 3/4, which is this, I just took it and you know, you can put down just as much as you want to. You know, if you want it to be a little thinner, bring it on down. If you don't, then, you know, don't. I didn't have any specific thing. I just kind of eyeballed it and, you know, brought it down so that I can paper this, and then this will be a different paper. That's how I made those little pockets there. So anyway, you are going to need 2 of those, 4 3/4 by 4 3/4. Then you're going to need a flip band that is cut at 3 1/4, going up and down, by 5 3/4 across, and only on one end are you going to score it a 1/2 inch, because this is going to make one of our flip pages. Okay, so it's 3 1/4 by 5 3/4, and then scored a 1/2 inch on one end, and you need 2 of these. Okay, then you're going to have another belly band that will need to be cut 2 1/2 by 6 1/4, okay, long here, going side to side, and then you're going to score it on that 6 1/4 inch side. You're going to score it at a 1/2 inch each end. So you have a 1/2 inch here and a 1/2 inch here, and you're going to need 2 of those. Then I have a flip page here that, and I believe you need 2 of these, if I remember right. I didn't write it on there, but anyway, I think you're going to need 2 of these. And they're going to be 4 1/2 by 7, okay, by 7. And then we are going to score on this 7-inch side cut. We're going to score a 1/2 inch at the top. Okay, so it's like this. And that's another flip page. Okay, here on your photo mats, I'm going to have outer mats and inner mats. And these are what you're going to need for those mats. You're going to need, these are the 6 1/2 by 4 1/2 of what I call the outer mats. You're going to need 5 in black and 2 in a coordinating cardstock. And of course my coordinating cardstock is going to be red. So anyway, 6 1/2 by 4 1/2 pieces, you need to cut 5 in black and 2 in a coordinating cardstock. Then for the inner mats that are going to be 6 1/4 by 4 1/4, you're going to need 4 in black, 4 in your coordinating colored cardstock, and then you're going to need 3 in a pattern paper. But I usually wait to cut those until I know what paper I'm putting on my pages, so you might hold off on those 3. But I would go ahead and cut the 4 in black and the 4 in your color coordinating cardstock at the 6 1/4 by 4 1/4. And then on the wallet size, you need, for the outer mats, you need 4 in the black, cut at 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. And then for the inner mats on those wallet size photo mats, you're going to need to cut them 3 by 4, and you're going to have 1 in a black, 1 in a pattern paper, and then 2 in your coordinating cardstock, and like I said, mine's going to be red. So just cut them at 3 by 4. one in black, one in a pattern paper, and 2 in a coordinating cardstock. So anyway, those are going to be the sizes that you're going to need. You've got your outer and your inners on both your 4x6 and your wallet size photo mats. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and put this insert together. So what you'll want to do is your sticky strip or your glue or whatever it is you're using. Let's see if I can find my little knife here. All I did was just put my sticky strip here on the back side of this one fold. Okay, and then what you want to do, and you know, I don't know how to tell you how the easiest way to do this is. I usually just take, and I know that's hard to see in the camera, but I usually just take my top and lay it down, and I can usually see where I've scored right here, and I try to just make sure I have it even on both the ends. Okay, and I did make a little center mark there for the center. So anyway, this is what we want to do. Just kind of push it down, make sure it's good and stuck. Okay, and then most times I will take this hinge tape. I actually buy this at Amazon, and it's just a book repair tape. It's a kind of thin. I mean, but it's not necessary that you have it. I don't know, I've just always used it, so it's just something I always have on hand. But anyway, what I do is I just take it and I run it for just a little added strength there on my books. But like I said, you really don't have to have it. It's just something that I like to put on there. And then this here will be the same way. And I usually put it on the inside of this one because my sticky strip is on the outside. And I usually just run a little piece just right center there. And it's like I said, it's a really thin tape, but it just gives it a little added strength, I think, sometimes to just keep your pages from ripping on you. So get that. But you could use, you know, even if you used a clear tape or something, be the same thing. Okay. Let me get that cut off a little bit. Okay. So what I did was I sticky stripped this part here, and I've got my center marked. Now I took a piece of black cardstock that is actually the same length as my inner section here. Half is 3 7/8 inch, but what I simply did was I took the piece that I had cut and I folded it in half to find my half, okay? So what I do, once I get that, I just kind of lay it on my, piece here, and I'm going to mark center with my pencil, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line center with center, and that should give me the same amount on each side that's going to stick over, because this page is longer than this, so I want it to be the same amount on both ends, and that is why I kind of measured half. Okay, and anyway, I don't know if I gave you center on this, but I'll kind of give you center on these wider pages. Center is actually going to be right at 3 7/8. It's going to be 3 7/8 inch. Okay, 3 7/8 inch. Or the same way there, you can just make a piece that's the same width, fold it in half, lay it on top, find your center. Either way, you know, whatever's the quickest, that's what I like to do. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm lining up my center with my center here. And what you want to come center of your 1/2 inch. And so if it's easy to do it this way, then I'm all for doing things the easy way. Right here is my 1/2 inch gusset, if you will just move it up there kind of to your half line and just mark a little bit there. That's going to be around 1/4 of an inch. Okay, and I lay it, see if I can get it turned. And I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not, but I'm going to line my half mark with my half mark, and I'm just going to try to get it right at, that ain't going to work. Let me do something a little easier here, because I just don't like the way that's coming out. Okay. That's my 1/2 inch. I'm going to mark 1/8 of an inch here on this side of my half, and I'm going to mark the 1/8 on this side. Okay. And then that will kind of show me where I need to put my okay. So I made me a few little lines there so I could see it a little better. Okay, so now I am laying it on my pencil mark. I've got my half lined up here. And then I'm going to go to my pencil mark here. Okay. And I'm going to press down. Okay. And this, and if you have a little bit of this, I mean, it'll be okay, because you're probably going to paper pretty close to the edge of that anyway, so I don't usually worry about too much of that glue. But if you do use the sticky strip, I mean, it's really kind of easy just to roll it off of there. It'll come off. But anyway, here is your insert. And I used 2 of these inserts to make my book. And 2 of these inserts is 4 pages. You'll have one, well, it's more than 4 pages. Here's 1 page, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So 1 insert is going to make you 8 pages. And that's how you're going to put it together. And then in part 2, we will go ahead and paper everything and get it started. So anyway, thanks so much for watching.